as a player, and later coached the Longhorns and the University of Arizona, retiring with more victories than any tennis coach in NCAA history. At Winfield High School, he won state doubles in 1950 and state singles in 1951 and 52. Attended the University of Texas and was a member of 3 Southwest Conference title teams. Served as head coach at Texas and Arizona from 1959 through 2000 and recorded an amazing record, 697 and 226. He retired as the most successful tennis coach in NCAA Division I history, enshrined in the University of Texas Hall of Honor, Texas Tennis Hall of Fame, and the Missouri Valley Hall of Fame. The first person representing the sport of tennis, ladies and gentlemen, to be inducted into the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. Welcome, if you would, Mr. David Snyder.
Great honor to be here. I was going to make a joke about, imagine I'm Bill and I'm from Manhattan, but that won't work, will it? Great honor to be selected to be here. I thought I knew sports, but there's so many great names downstairs that I didn't realize there were that many from Kansas, and I credit you all, and I'm just proud to be in your company. I thank my family and Winfield friends and teammates that supporters that have come here to be with me on this special evening. I've been incredibly blessed and lucky to have been associated with several coaches and some players that made my tennis journey special, and I'll try to mention a few of them without staying too long. Our family moved from Arch City to Winfield when I was in the 5th grade. My father taught at Southwestern, and like all the other kids in town, we played football in the fall and basketball in the winter, and tennis maybe, but typically it was baseball and track till I got to high school. And then I ran into a coach named Curly Vaughn, and Curly was a special person. I don't even think I've got him figured out quite yet, but his teams won 20 state singles and doubles championship in 20 years. He just had a knack for finding people. Typically there were a lot of basketball players, but he'd find these guys in town who could play tennis, and the courts were pretty well located. They're right up near the high school, and people would drive by. They weren't the greatest courts in the world. I think back, they were asphalt. They only went about 20 feet behind the baseline, and then there was some dirt, and if it rained, there was some grass. Somebody said, I've played on hard courts, I've played on clay courts, and I've played on grass courts, but never at the same time. But anyway, Lucian would find kids who could play and get them into tournaments, and he had a little assistance by a gentleman over here in the corner, Lucian Barber. Lucian played his tennis at Stanford about the time I was in high school. He won a couple state championships himself, and he would come home in the summertime and wanted to keep his tennis up and promote the better players in town, and we'd take off, play these Missouri Valley tournaments in Joplin or Topeka. We got to Omaha, Kansas City, and so it was sort of like a summer camp, or anyway, we were getting ahead of all the other high school kids in Kansas because we were out playing all summer, and they were probably, we didn't see too many kids from Kansas. And I think that's one reason Curtis' team dominated, but Lucian was a part of that scheme, and it really worked. And I have to credit Curly for getting me involved in these tournaments. As I said, I've tried to play all the sports, but tennis is the one sport that I had more ability at. Some of my old high school buddies were here, the basketball players, and we had a real fine basketball team, but tennis is where my future was. And Curly, after I went to the Nationals, I happened to qualify, I went to the Nationals and got to the quarterfinals, and he wrote down to the University of Texas to tell me that he had a player of what I'd accomplished, and I got a scholarship down there, and went on to play at Texas. I ran into my coach in Texas with a fellow named Loomer Allison, who had won the Nationals in 1935, and was well known all over the country, a 10-time Davis Cupper and Davis Cup captain. And Loomer kind of took over my life at that point. I guess, kind of, as I think back, these coaches just kind of kept me going to the next level or the next way. I got to play with the Davis Cupper in college, a fellow named Sammy Jamalva, and that was a great experience. In a way, after I got out of college, I realized I'd played some of the summer tournaments thanks to Wilmer's getting me so-called wild cards in the East. My future was in coaching, and Curly and Wilmer wrote recommendations. I got a college job at the University of Arizona just 2 years out of college, which is kind of unusual. I won't spend much time explaining that, except that I did have a high school boy there who won the national juniors, a fellow named Bill Lenore. He came in and suddenly we had a star. We went from nothing to a third-ranked team in the country. I got a chance to go back to Texas in 1972 when Wilmer retired. He recommended to the athletic director and football coach, Darrell Royal, that I be his successor. And I was the easiest recruit Darrell Royal ever had. I was ready to go back home to Texas there after going to college. And that was a great thrill. We had a good team, but we got a little bit better. About 4 years later, I got a letter from a South African kid named Kevin Kern saying he wanted to come play college tennis. Most of you may not remember that name, but Kevin went on to win the NCAAs. He won the U.S. Open doubles in 1982 with one of his teammates there at Texas, Steve Denton, in semifinals 1983, and he went to the finals in 1985. We had a star on our hands. And that kind of rubbed off on the rest of the team. And since that time, we've won another national singles title and 4 national doubles player final teams. So it helps to have a great one. And I was lucky enough to have that fella come in sight unseen and be our star. I feel like that I've just been very lucky to have these coaches and these players that came my way. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I sure did enjoy it. It's been a good run. I retired in 2000, but I've enjoyed keeping up with the Texas teams, and I have to say that I followed your Kansas boys as well. My best recruit is my wife Nancy over there, and about 55 years ago she said yes to my letter of intent. She knew I wanted to coach, and so she knew what she was getting into, I guess. She knew the challenge. But you know, no matter what job you have, if you take off on a trip and the kids are sick or they haven't had too much sleep or something, you sort of leave everything in hand. You appreciate having a wife like that. She knew all the players on the team. She came out and rooted them for hundreds of matches. She gave them some home cooking when the meals at the dining hall got a little too unpredictable. And she's since I've been retired 12 years, she's still getting calls on Mother's Day from former players. So I think that's a pretty good sign. Nancy, I love you, and I thank you for all you do. You're part of this honor too. Thank you.
Playing David today, Kansas Sports Hall of Fame board member Tim Daniel. Congratulations again, David. Our next inductee is Bud Stallworth, an All-American in both the classroom and on the court. Bud Stallworth was one of the KU Jayhawks' most successful players in history and still ranks among the school's all-time leaders in scoring. In 1972, he was the Big 8 Conference Player of the Year. He was a 2-time first-team All-Big 8 selection, an academic All-American in 1971, an All-American in